Good morning, dreamers. How are you today? Happy Monday from where I sit. Some days you know what you want to say, and some days you don't. Today's an I know what I want to say. I have been meditating in my sleep about something all night, sorry. And when I mean meditating, it's not purposeful, it's just my mind and body processing things that are important for me. Um, so not necessarily dreams as much as thought processes. And one of the things God is working on me with right now is um, why do people in the church, I am one of those people, why do we think that in order to be fellow Jesus followers, everything has to line up and look the same? And we start to make rules because humans understand rules. We've been designed for routine. Go to sleep, wake up. Like our whole world has been created for rhythm. And so one of the things that helps rhythm is a schedule. And a schedule is just a rule book for your day. What am I going to do when? How am I going to do it? And with whom am I going to do it? And we're designed for rules, for regulating. Okay. Um, so that means order is not wrong. When the Almighty God created this world for us with an order, that's okay. However, we take that need for order and we flip it on its head and say now we need control over the order. When we look at the schedule at the end of the day and we didn't get 3 things done, we feel we failed. But we had 17 things that we did do. So perhaps it wasn't a failure. Maybe it was just too scheduled. Or maybe you had something that I've heard coined as a divine interruption. So you had a schedule and there was some need that someone had and they brought it to you and you had to shift your schedule away from what you had thought was the plan, and you have to help with someone who is in need of you or your time or your attention or your problem solving skills, whatever that looks like. So we take our need for order and we flip it on its head, and now we need control, which means we need more rules, and we become this legalistic, you must agree with me or you're wrong. And there's this trend, oh, that's not the right word. This process that people who have grown up in a legalistic world often will go through. And it's a reassessing of their faith and their practices, and they're wondering, why do we do what we do? Is it just because I was told to, or is it because there's some value to it? And when we reevaluate, often this is just growing up, we either come to the same conclusions we were taught or we come to something different. Some people throw faith and spirituality right out the window, and that just hurts my heart so much that um, that happens. But I can't force them to change their mind on that. I reassess things and I reevaluate because Jesus taught that way. And it was, you've heard it said this, but I tell you this. And then he speaks and lives and teaches the Beatitudes. Blessed are the, right? And if we lived Beatitudes, then, because his Beatitudes are not about who has the right theology. No, his Beatitudes are about how we treat each other in the world around us. And so if that's our focus, we can let go of we're still ordered, we're still created and designed for that, but we can let go of the need to be right. And I talked with a cousin of mine on the weekend, and she put it in the most beautiful phraseology. She said, we can stop appropriating God's job. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say, but she just said it so beautifully. And it's right. When we start to say, you're a second class citizen in the kingdom because you don't live up to this. We know you love Jesus, but you have the fruit of the Spirit, but you have this one thing that makes you less than. And so, or we go so far as to say, you can't be a Christian and be like that. because if you were a Christian, you wouldn't be like that. And we start to pinpoint and put labels on other people because we are appropriating God's job. We're saying who gets in and who stays out. We're saying they're not valuable enough to be part of the kingdom. And then I had an interesting interaction with a new friend on Facebook yesterday. And it was something that a friend of mine had posted, and it was a wonderful celebration of someone who had struggled with a mental health condition for 7 years. And they gathered together and they laid hands on him, they anointed him, they prayed over him. And for maybe it was 9 years, and now for 7 months, he has not struggled with this one specific mental health condition. And they were praising God for that. Okay, good. We give God the glory. That's awesome. But one person was just like, but God doesn't always do that. Everybody's, yay, God, all comment. And one person's like, but God doesn't do that. And the author of the post said, okay, I'll talk to you quietly over here. And it's like, why can't we have the discussion? You've posted out in the open. Why can't we have the discussion out in the open that, you know what? No, sometimes people get miracles and sometimes people get very slow miracles. And when I determine what is a miracle and what is not based on its speed, and I start to judge people's amount of faith based on what they believe about miracles, I am appropriating God's job. So I saw this wonderful woman who you can tell she's aching because why don't I get a magic miracle moment? And that's not what the post was meaning. Not everyone gets this. But why can't we discuss this out loud too? That most of us experience slow miracles. I'm a slow miracle person, but then when I see the sunrise, wow, that's a miracle. And I feel this awe within me that something greater than myself, the divine, almighty God, created this world in a way of beauty so that I could enjoy it, so that you could enjoy it. That spiritual enlightenment is a miracle. I might still struggle with depression and have to take my meds and my vitamins in order, oh, cat's yawning. And I might struggle to get out of bed in the morning, and I might ache physically and be in pain. That does not mean my faith is less than. In fact, often in the darkness, our faith grows because we know how bad it is, and we can sense the presence of the Almighty in that terrible, terrible place. And so this woman was just asking for validation that her faith is real, even though she hasn't experienced that. And it is, my sister, it is. You might be a slow miracle person. Your miracle might be existing through the pain and learning to thrive in spite of it. That might be your miracle. Your miracle might be that you can talk to somebody who struggles with mental health conditions and you are not healed, so you get where they are and you can share the hope of Jesus because you know he will show up in that darkness. And you might have a miracle. I can't say who gets what. That's part of the mystery of God. And as soon as I start to say, well, do you believe? Well, do you believe? Well, do you believe? I'm starting to appropriate God's job because I'm making it sound as though if you don't believe, your faith isn't big enough, and that's why you're still sick. That's what the person who struggles with mental health hears when I speak that way. And I know because I've spoken to myself that way. And so I'm trying to learn to step back, stop appropriating God's job, thrive in the world of order and rhythm that he has given me, because that is how I can combat my mental health conditions. But know that that does not mean I appropriate control and I appropriate his job for myself or for other people. And you know what? It's very freeing to know that I don't owe you an explanation. I don't have anything to prove. I can just have my coffee and have a good time talking with you. Sorry it's long, but it was a heart conversation today. Don't appropriate God's job in your life. Just live and experience the everyday miracles that are all around you. One of them being the amazing brew that is coffee. Know that I love you. Bye.